A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Five bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. The 5-alarm fire. 5 bells. Move in immediately.
That's it. Let's roll. Let's go. Firefighters.
Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In just a minute, we'll move into the Midland Forest area, where fire, started in the woods by a cigarette tossed from a passing car, is moving up Break Leg Hill toward Upper Falls, where Chief Cody and Tim Collins are visiting. But before we join Tim Collins, we have time for this message. Let's go, firefighters. Let's go to the meadow near the barnyard of Ellery Collins, cousin of Tim Collins, rookie firefighter. As you remember, Tim and Cousin Ellery have left the farm at top speed in response to the alarm of fire in Midland Woods. And they left behind them, asleep under a tree in the meadow, Chief Cody himself, comfortably dressed in his oldest clothing, enjoying his first holiday in years. Until, just a moment ago, Chief Cody was roused by a distant sound.
Great blazing blisters. Who's making all that noise? It's a fire siren. Collins, Ellery. What's the matter? You gone deaf? There's a fire.
All his plans for a peaceful holiday forgotten, the chief responds to the alarm like an old fire dog, but he finds the farm buildings deserted.
Great blistering blazes. The car's gone. They've left me. Well, how do you like that?
And as he stands in the open meadow, he hears a strange disturbance overhead. An odd-looking airplane with short, stubby wings and 4 blades whirling idly above its body drops toward Chief Cody in low, slow flight. The Forest Patrol plane.
What do you know? It's a helicopter. Hey, it's coming down here.
As the helicopter drops down to hover a dozen feet above Chief Cody's head, a window in the fuselage slides open, and a man calls out.
Where's Ellery Collins? Can you call him out here?
He's gone. Everybody's cleared out but me.
This boy, too? Young Pete?
He's been gone for hours.
You sure of that, old-timer?
Well, of course I'm sure. Pete and young Jimmy Collins, too. They went off somewhere after breakfast.
That's bad. Look here, old-timer.
What's bad?
There's a fire in the woods heading up Break Leg Hill with the wind behind it.
And that's where Ellery must have gone.
Yes, and every able-bodied man in the district. But the boys were seen in that area before the fire began.
You mean they may be caught? Well, get me over there, will you?
This is a patrol plane, no passengers.
This is an emergency. Somebody's got to find Ellery. Tell him to scout for those boys.
Can you climb a rope ladder?
Just drop it down here, will you? Get me over to that fire.
From a hatch in the patrol plane, a weighted rope ladder drops down. Chief Cody, shabby and disheveled in his battered garments, briskly climbs the half-dozen rungs, enters the cabin of the patrol craft, and hauls the ladder up after him.
Pretty spry for an old-timer. All secure, I'll bolt the hatch. Let's get out of here. I'm the District Warden, Fire Protection Service. Haven't seen you before, have I? Or have I?
Maybe we've met, Warden.
Something familiar about you, old-timer, but
Cody's my name, Bob Cody.
It'll come to me, Bob. I never forget a name or a face. Oh, stand by a minute, will you? Gotta check with headquarters. Patrol plane to HQ. District Warden in patrol plane.
Headquarters. This is headquarters. Come in, Warden.
Patrol plane is proceeding to fire. I'm moving toward the fire.
Mobile unit is waiting on highway. You're in touch with radio receiver at Break Leg Hill.
All right, HQ. Patrol plane will give orders direct to men at fire.
I hear you, Warden. Anything more?
Boys have not been found. Any report at HQ?
No, sir. Last word was that boys were seen in woods near Break Leg Hill. Peter Collins and companion have not yet been found.
Get in touch with the mobile unit, HQ. Notify Ellery Collins that his boy and companion are missing. That is all.
Now, look here, Warden. You're not trying to tie those boys up with the start of this fire.
No, we know how it started, all right, old-timer.
Bob Cody.
Bob, then. Some fool of a driver tossed a cigarette or burning match or something like that into the brush.
Ought to have his neck wrung.
Sure, but there's no chance of catching him now. What's more important is those boys. Look, watch below. I'll give you the layout.
We've been over woods for the last few minutes. And that column of smoke, pretty broad at the base, isn't it?
No, that doesn't bother me. See those two lines?
Slicing right through the woods? I see something moving. Hey, that's a highway, isn't it? Those are cars moving on it.
That's the highway. And that other long line, that's a good wide fire lane.
Like another road cut through the forest. And the fire's between those two. Can you keep it there?
If I have men enough, I can drive the fire right toward Break Leg Hill.
If that's the hill there ahead of us...
Yeah, that's Break Leg.
Well, the fire's got a good start up that hill.
Yeah, but the crest is a bare ridge and... Oh, stand by now, Bob. Patrol plane to mobile unit. District warden calling mobile unit.
Mobile unit to patrol plane. Come in, warden. We're getting you fine and clear. This is Donovan.
Donovan, I can see the ridge on Break Leg Hill. Send men along the fire lane and the highway.
On the way, warden. Men with tools are holding the flanks of the fire.
Have you water to spare, Donovan? Enough for the backpacks?
All the water we need, warden. Upper Falls has a tank truck bringing more. They've gone back to refill.
Then here are your orders, Donovan. On no condition must the fire cross the highway or the fire lane.
Yes, sir. We can turn it back if it tries to cross.
Warden, there are men on the hill.
Stand by, Donovan.
Mobile unit standing by.
Look there, Warden. Men well ahead of the fire, climbing breakneck from the side near the road.
Good. Somebody's using his head down there. Patrol plane to Donovan.
Come in, warden.
Donovan, who's in charge of those men climbing breakneck? They're almost up to the ridge.
Collins, Ellery Collins from Upper Falls. They'll clear the brush along the ridge. Try to stop the fire at the crest.
I'll get word to Collins to start a backfire just below it. That is all. Signing off.
Mobile unit signing off.
Bob, how long have you worked for Ellery Collins?
Huh?
Long enough to know the country here? Do you know Breakneck Hill or the woods hereabouts?
Well, a little.
Then I'll drop you on the ridge. Are you game?
Well, at least I'm able-bodied.
Good for you, old-timer. Now, I'll drop you on the ridge, and you can meet Collins as he brings his men up to the top. Tell him I want a backfire.
You want him to burn off that brush below the crest so the main fire won't have anything to feed on. Right.
Not many I'd trust to manage a backfire, but Collins is an experienced hand.
Look there. On that big rock.
Huh? Where?
Halfway up the hill, Warden. Just above the line of the fire.
I don't see where you... Oh! Those two boys.
Can you fly this contraption low enough to pick them up?
Oh, not through those trees that overhang the rocks.
Then we've got to get word to the men on the hill. Get me over to that ridge, Warden. We can't waste time flapping around in the clouds.
The district warden, not yet recognizing his dilapidated passenger as Chief Cody, famous commander of the city fire department, deposits him on the ridge of Break Leg Hill as a long file of men climb through the brush into the open. First to emerge from the tangled growth with a knapsack extinguisher full of water on his back and an axe in his hand is Tim Collins.
Oh, good grief. What a hike. Wonder where that plane was going.
Hello!
Somebody up here already?
Hello!
Hello! Out of the bushes at last. I didn't think anybody was ahead of me, but... Oh, good grief.
Collins!
Chief Cody, how'd you get here?
Never mind that now, Collins.
You must have flown.
I did.
Huh?
Never mind, I'll tell you later. Where's your cousin?
Ellery's with the other men, Chief. They're almost here. We're going to clean out this brush and try to keep the fire off the ridge.
I've got orders for him, Collins. But look, Tim, have you heard about Jimmy? About Jimmy and young Pete?
The kids?
Yeah.
Well, no, they went off together this morning, but...
Well, son, it seems this hill here is a great place for the youngsters around here to play at camping out.
Oh, I don't think...
Yes, this is where they came this morning, son. And they're down that hillside now.
In the path of the fire?
Yeah, I saw them from the patrol plane. There's no doubt it was Jimmy and Pete standing on a big flat rock.
Give me my bearings, Chief.
Yeah, well, take a line from the hilltop here.
Yeah?
Direct toward that big tree standing clear of the smoke.
I'll take the axe.
Now, give me that backpack, son.
Right.
You can travel faster.
I'm on my way, Chief.
Good luck, boy. You'll get them out all right.
As Chief Cody turns away to find Ellery Collins and pass along the orders from the district warden, Tim crashes down the hillside. And breaking out into a clearing in the path of the climbing fire, he sees, clouded in haze, the two boys, Pete and Jimmy, standing on a great flat rock. And as they turn their sooty faces toward him, he sees that both boys are grinning from ear to ear. Far from being terrified, they eagerly wave him on to join them. Why aren't Jimmy and Pete Collins running in panic from the forest fire, instead of laughing at some sight below them on the rocks, as if they were watching a circus? You can't blame Tim Collins for wondering, and maybe he's even a little annoyed. Well, you'll find out for sure when you listen to our next true-to-life episode of The Firefighters. In just a moment, Chief Bob Cody will tell you, boys and girls, how you can help the firefighters in your own town. But first, here's a message you ought to hear. And now, Chief Bob Cody with a special notice for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. This is your friend, Chief Cody, with a tip on how to fight fire in grass or brush. Use a shovel, broom, or rake, or some such tool to beat out the flames. And remember, swing your shovel with a wide sweep toward the fire to prevent sparks from spreading into new areas. And when that fire is knocked down, dig a trail or trench all around it, right down to bare ground. You see, this keeps the fire from coming back to life and reaching into unburned grass or brush. And you remember, fire is treacherous that way. Well, that's all for now. You'll be hearing from me soon.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's roll!
Let's go! Firefighters!
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future. Adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds.
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, The Parade, by George Lefferts.
You are Mr. Sid Ryan?
The same.
My name is Lucia. I'm a Martian.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. What was that again?
A Martian.
A Martian, eh? As in Orson Welles?
Precisely.
I'm a Rotarian myself. Sit down.
Thank you.
And now that we've had our little joke, Mr. Lucia, what can Publicity Associates do for you?
It has been my observation that advertising and publicity are the very backbone of earthly civilization.
Spoken like a true Martian, Mr. Lucia. Now, if you'll tell me the name of the client.
The client, of course, will be the Martian.
You don't give up, do you?
Give up?
The gag, I mean. Oliver.
Oh, yes, Mr. Ryan?
This is Mr. Lucia.
How do you
Mr.
do,
Lucia claims to be a Martian. Take him outside, will you, Oliver? Get the name of the sanatorium he escaped from and tell them to bring the butterfly net.
Wait, sir. I'm happy to see, Mr. Ryan, that my telling you I'm a Martian has approximately the effect I supposed it would have. I believe we can do business. I have here the cash retainer of $5,000.
Sit down, Mr. Lucia. Oliver, get the client a cigar.
Yes, sir.
No, the other box.
Thank you, no.
Well, now, what can I do for you, sir?
I wish you to manage a publicity campaign. A very large, a very important campaign.
Is the product established, or is it something brand new?
Oh, something quite new. Now, what would you judge to be the most effective type of campaign?
Well, if the client has a lot of dough to throw around, a suspense campaign is best. First, you place ads in the paper saying, watch this space. Then, about a week later, you run an ad saying XYZ or PDQ, and you get people guessing what it means. Then, finally, when you've teased them enough, you bust loose and unveil the product.
Excellent. Very well, sir. We shall conduct a suspense campaign.
Of course, in this kind of campaign, secrecy is very important. Once the name of the product leaks out, it spreads like wildfire, and the whole campaign is kerfloppo.
Yes, quite so. Utmost secrecy.
That's right. You realize, of course, these things cost like crazy.
Would, say, $1 million cover the expense?
Come again?
I said, would $1 million cover it?
Yes, I imagine. You did say $1 million.
I understood that you had handled some very large accounts. Of course, if this is too big...
Oh, not at all. As a matter of fact, I seldom touch anything less. Right, Oliver?
Huh? Oh, of course. That's right, Mr. Ryan. Absolutely right.
Good. You will begin, then, by saturating the newspapers, the radio, streetcars, with a very simple statement.
What's that?
I shall write it for you.
The Martians are coming. Say, that's not a bad teaser. Got that, Oliver?
Yes, sir.
The next ad will read, June 1st is Martian Day.
June 1st is Martian Day.
What happens on June 1st?
The parade takes place.
What parade?
I wish you to arrange a parade up Fifth Avenue.
You mean like the Macy parade?
Exactly. Except that the theme will be the world of tomorrow. The Martian world. My client would like it to be a gay affair. Balloons, clowns, pennants, pretty drum majorettes.
Say, that sounds terrific. I might be able to interest the department stores in a tie-in.
The parade will climax the campaign. On June 1st, the product will be unveiled.
Good enough. By the way, Mr. Lucia, just what is the product? What are we selling?
Oh, no, Mr. Ryan. Secrecy, remember.
Oh, but after
all will be revealed to you in good time, Mr. Ryan. For the moment, let us say we are selling a concept.
Concept?
Precisely. The concept of invasion from Mars.
Benny Marcus, please.
This is Benny.
Benny, this is Sid Ryan over at Publicity Associates. Listen, Benny, how you fix for midgets?
I got midgets.
Fine. I need 40 midgets for a parade. 40. June 1st. And listen, Benny, I want them dressed in little spacesuits.
What?
You know, like men from Mars, okay?
Midgets.
And I want some movie extras, maybe 50 of them. Also rigged up like men from Mars. Make them look gruesome. Got that?
Gruesome.
Also, I need some horses with pretty girls on top of them. Maybe you can get that bunch from Maroney's Traveling Circus. The ones we booked for the Fireman's Parade in Albany last year.
That's right, sir.
And never mind the expense. Just get me the talent, okay? I gotta hang up now. Call me back, Benny. How you doing, Oliver?
Oh, fine, Mr. Ryan, just fine. We got full-page ads in all the dailies and 10-second spot announcements on every local station. But it's costing a fortune.
The more it costs, the bigger our percentage. Spend like you were going to the electric chair, Oliver.
Yes, sir. How you making out on the parade?
If it comes off, it'll be the biggest thing since Barnum invented the midget. I've got Macy's, gimbals, and sacks to contribute floats. Everything is built around the Martian theme, see? Even horses will have long feelers attached to them and funny-looking extra legs. It'll be sensational.
Oh, yeah, it sounds fine, only...
Only what?
Oh, Mr. Ryan, we don't even know what we're selling.
Oliver, my boy, do you think old Sid Ryan has been sitting here spending all this moolah and not putting two and two together?
You mean you know who Lucia represents?
Just by accident, understand? I have learned that Century Pictures is making a big new epic. A space opera entitled Invasion from Mars. Get it?
Oh, I begin to see.
Also, by mere coincidence, it happens to be the premiere sometime around June 1st. You follow me?
But, Mr. Ryan, Century has an exclusive contract with New Features Syndicate for all that publicity.
Suppose Century Pictures doesn't like the way New Features is handling their stuff. They want to get out of the contract, but New Features says no. So they have to get around the contract. A man named Lucia, client unknown, starts publicizing the Martian invasion. Need I go further?
Oh, I get it, Mr. Ryan. Gee, I suppose I should have thought of that.
No, Oliver, that's what I like about you. You're so innocent. Let me talk to Commissioner Patrick, please. Sid Ryan.
Hello?
Commish? Sid Ryan.
Oh, it's you. Well, what is it this time? If you want to drop a man off the Empire State Building into a teacup full of water, the answer is no. Also, we are not arresting any fan dancers.
You know I don't handle fan dances. I want a permit for a parade, June 1st, 5th Avenue. It's a Sunday. There's no traffic.
Oh, come now. Look, Ryan.
Macy's gets a permit. Gimbel's gets a permit. The American Legion gets a permit. The Sons of Erin march every time Morton Downey sings the Wearing the Green. Don't give me a hard time, Patrick. This is too big. I have the 5th Avenue Merchants Association behind me.
Okay, Ryan. Fill out the forms. I'll pass them along to the license commissioner.
That's my boy.
Oh, by the way, what's the occasion?
Oh, don't you read the papers, Patrick? June 1st is Martian Day.
Well, Mr. Ryan, how is the campaign going?
Like fire, Mr. Lucia, like fire. Everybody and his brother is going along with the gag. Yesterday, we distributed 50,000 Martian hats to school kids. I even arranged for Commissioner Patrick to accept a $50,000 check for the Policeman's Benevolent Fund from the Man from Mars. I understand Century Pictures spent over $1 million making that space opera.
I beg pardon?
Oh, come, Mr. Lucia. Sid Ryan wasn't born yesterday, you know. I know who our client is, even if you don't admit it.
You do?
Always thinking that's me.
Well, as long as you know, let's keep it to ourselves, shall we, Mr. Ryan? As you once remarked, when these things leak out, it destroys the surprise and ruins the effectiveness of the campaign.
Speaking to you from our portable transmitter atop the reviewing stand for the much-heralded Martian Parade on Fifth Avenue. It's a beautiful sunlit day here in New York. Perfect day for a parade. And the streets are packed with thousands of spectators, all eager to find out what this is all about. There's an air of shrill expectancy.
Come over here!
Okay, come all right. I just had word from Saul Brown at the Central Park Mall that the Martians have landed from big pink balloons. And while we're waiting here for the arrival of the parade, we brought some people up to our microphone to tell you their reactions to this spectacular affair. What's your name, madam? A little louder, please.
Miss Ada Shackley.
And where are you from, Mrs. Shackley?
Columbus, Ohio.
I see.
Mama.
I see you have your family with you. Two little curly-headed boys. Are you in New York for your vacation?
Yeah, we came for the Shriners Convention with their daddy.
Well,
Mama,
what do you think of Martian Day, Mrs. Shackley?
Well, it all seems very strange to me, but the boys have been pestering me to watch it, so we've been standing here for 2 hours. I can't make head or tail of it.
Well, neither can a lot of other people, Mrs. Shackley, but judging by the thousands here already, there's a lot of curiosity.
Curiosity killed a cat.
Let's hope not. Thank you, Mrs. Shackley. And now here they come, ladies and gentlemen. The first units of the big Martian Parade, swinging down Fifth Avenue. Fanfare, colored streamers, music, confetti, floats, all this passion to the Mardi Gras. Let's listen to the band for a minute. Here in the vanguard, the whole troop of little midgets in weird-looking pink and blue spacesuits, carrying Rube Goldberg weapons with signs painted on them. I can read one which says Atomic Blaster. Another has a placard reading, We're Marching Through Georgia. And here come the clowns, laughing and falling all over each other. They're giving free sugar candy to the kids along the way. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there's a happy, laughing crowd along Fifth Avenue today. A true reflection of the great sense of humor and good nature that makes America the place it is. Why, only... What's this? The crowd's murmuring now. They've fallen somewhat silent. Something coming. I'll try to get it for you. What? Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the Martian contingent. This is promised as the climax of the show. And now a great hush has fallen over the crowd. Quite a sight to see these thousands of people standing here expectantly, hearing only the great regular sigh of their mass breathing. And now here they come, ladies and gentlemen. The Martians, marching in booted, helmeted ranks, row after row of them. This is an impressive sight, ladies and gentlemen. And a rather serious contrast to the rest of the joyous slapstick parade we've been witnessing up to now. There are perhaps, 200 tall, broad-chested men dressed in metallic gray spacesuits with thick glass visors drawn across their faces. Each one's holding an ominous-looking ray gun at the ready position. They're marching in absolute silence, keeping step perfectly as though some neat, unspoken command is marking time for them. Even the children are awed by the unexpected, warlike realism of the Martian Legion. And now the first ranks of the Martians move past us, down Fifth Avenue toward the reviewing stands at the square. No one moves. There. A woman, ladies and gentlemen, just dashed out into the street. For what reason, I don't know. She just slipped through the police cordon somehow. They're after her now, but she's already reached the ranks of the marchers, and she's trying to lift the visor of one of the Martian spacesuits. Wait. She's fallen. She screamed and then fell forward in a dead faint. The Martian column keeps right on coming. Unless they break ranks, they're going to trample us. No. The police have got her now. They're dragging her away, out of the way. Trying to revive her now. What's that? All sorts of rumors have begun filtering back through the crowd. Some are even whispering that the woman's dead. We don't know yet, but whatever's happened, the incident seems to have cast a slight shadow over the mood of the crowd. The carefree holiday air seems to have vanished. The crowd's stirring uneasily, a little disturbed at what we've just seen. Nothing to be alarmed at, however. It just seems a shame that anything like this should happen to spoil our enjoyment of the Martian parade.
Mr. Ryan, did you see that? A woman fainted. She ran out into the street to get a close look at the Martians, then she screamed and fainted dead away.
I'm well aware of that, Oliver, since I paid her $50 to do it.
What?
The dramatic moment, Oliver. The stock and trade of the good publicity man. Relax.
Holy smokes, you sure think of everything.
For my share of this deal, roughly $100,000, I can afford to think of everything. Shut the window.
Okay, but don't you want to see the finish?
We'll go down to the reviewing stand for the finish. Right now, I want to make a phone call. By the way, where's Lucia?
I haven't seen it.
Well, close the window, Oliver.
Well, okay, Mr. Ryan.
Market Talent Agency.
Benny, this is Sid Ryan.
Oh, say, listen, Sid, I was going to call you. I'm awful sorry about those Martians.
What do you mean, sorry? They're terrific.
No, don't joke, Sid. I mean it.
Well, I mean it, too. They're great.
Are you in a bag?
Never felt better.
You mean it, don't you?
Of course I mean it. What is this?
There are Martians in the parade?
About 150. Of course, I only ordered 50, but
Sid.
under the circumstances...
Sid.
What is it?
Sid, don't you know I couldn't get you a single movie yesterday? There's a studio strike in New York.
Huh? Wait a minute. Where'd these guys come from if you didn't hire them?
I don't know.
Hold on. Oliver,
Oh, yes, Mr. Ryan?
did you hire those Martians?
Well, no, sir. I didn't...
Benny, this is on the level, isn't it?
Oh, yes, Sid.
Okay, Benny, I'll call you back.
What's the matter, Mr. Ryan?
I don't know. Just don't know. Wonder if Lucia... What's Century Pictures number?
Tremaine 4, 1000.
Tremaine 4, 1000.
Century Pictures, the studio of the stars.
Give me Marty Sanford, your publicity director.
One moment, please. Sanford?
Marty, this is Sid Ryan.
Oh, hello, Sid.
Fine. Listen, Marty, this is dead serious. On the level, get it?
What's wrong?
I've got to locate Lucia.
Lou who?
Lucia, come on now, Marty. This is life and death. The guy you sent over to hire me for the invasion picture.
I heard of a guy named Lucia. And, what in
Invasion from Mars, the space opera.
You, Barry?
Marty.
I picked you a shelf last month.
What?
Sure, back in the can. The big shots decided you can't sell a Martian invasion to the American public. It's too incredible, Sid. Who'd ever believe it could really happen? Now, all the great...
Mother in heaven.
What is it, Mr. Ryan? You look terrible.
It's too fantastic.
Mr. Ryan, is something wrong?
Open that window. I want another look at those Martians. Look at them. Oliver, you were in the Army. Could 150 movie extras learn to march like that in, say, 24 hours?
No. Not in 24 days, Mr. Ryan.
Not a second's hesitation. Not one out of step. Look at the way they carry those ray guns at the ready. The only other time I've seen troops march like that was on a film of the Nazi SS troops marching through the streets of Paris.
Mr. Ryan.
Oliver, get down there. Find that woman who painted. Her name's Gloria Montez. Get her up here. Make it fast.
Yes, Mr. Ryan, I can't get much sense out of her.
Stay away from me.
Okay, Gloria. You can cut out the act and relax. It's me, Sid Ryan. Gloria, settle down. Baby, it's me, Sid.
It's awful. It's so big green eyes and the feelings like a cat's thing.
Baby, snap out of it. Listen, what happened down there? You ran out and screamed like I told you, but the fainting, that wasn't in the act.
Go away, please. Go away.
Just one question, baby. Inside that helmet, what did you see? Okay, Oliver. I've heard enough anyway. You take care of Gloria. Get her a drink. Where are you going? To see the commissioner. You got to stop this parade before things begin to happen.
Okay, Ryan, what's the beat?
Listen, Patrick, I don't know what it is, see, but something's wrong. You've got to stop that parade.
I suppose you'd like the riot squad. That would get you a front-page spread on every paper in town. Now, look, Ryan, I've got no time for your cheap publicity gags. I'm a busy man.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you I don't know where those Martians came from, who they are, anything about them.
Oh, Ryan, I'm wise to your tricks. Now, if you let the sergeant show you out...
You won't do it, huh? An honest citizen appeals for protection and you refuse?
I most emphatically do. Now, beat it.
All right, Patrick. I'll go right to the mayor's office. I'll have you busted, flattened, and the fried egg.
Go ahead. I'm sure His Honor will be glad to toss you out on that phony nickel-plated skull of yours.
You heard me, Ryan. You can't see the mayor.
Adolf, please. This isn't a gag. I don't want publicity. All I want to do is maybe prevent something horrible from happening.
Yes, you don't know it, wise guy. Something horrible is already happening. A couple of hundred little kids are in the hospital with ptomaine poisoning from that phony Martian candy you passed out.
What?
Or didn't you know?
I didn't. We've got to stop that parade.
Sure, you'd like nothing better than start a panic now. Maybe a few hundred people get trampled to death. Think of the newspaper's face. That'd get you and your phony plot.
I won't stand for this, Adolf. This may be a matter of life and death.
Get out of here quick. It'll be your death. Go on, beat it. Get out. You and your publicity stunts make me sick to my stomach.
Oliver! Oliver! Oliver, where are you? Oliver! Oliver! Oliver!
It is useless to scream at him, Mr. Ryan. Your friend is quite dead.
Lucia!
He wanted to run to the police with some story about a Martian invasion. I found it necessary to restrain him.
Restrain him, you stinking murderer!
Now, Mr. Ryan, collect yourself. After all our planning, it wouldn't do to have everything spoiled now, would it?
Lucia, I'll start talking and talk fast, because when you get through, I'm going to take you apart piece by piece. What's this all about?
Surely you know, Mr. Ryan. After all, you've been publicizing it for months. You see, before colonizing your planet, the Martian government sent some of us as scouts in advance, disguised as Earthmen, of course, to study your habits, your weaknesses. We found that the people on Earth are predominantly conditioned by advertising and publicity. And so we conceived the idea of treating our entire invasion as a vast publicity stunt. Clever, yes? After all, Mr. Ryan, who would suspect an invader who advertised his invasion in the newspaper, invited the public to a surprise attack, and spent millions publicizing his plans?
Holy jumping.
You've done very well, you see.
Then there was no product.
Ah, but there is a product. The product is death.
What are you trying, Lucia?
We Martians are a humane people, Mr. Ryan. We do not like to destroy thousands where a few hundred will suffice. In exactly 2 minutes, our troops will treat the world to a spectacle of death, which will bring the rest of your planet to its knees in horror. Nations will clamor to surrender.
Perhaps, Mr. Lucia, but not if I can help it.
Go!
Yes, please?
Operator, this is Mr. Ryan. Give me the field telephone on the reviewing stand of the Martian Day Parade. Hurry.
Anyone in particular?
Just hurry.
Reviewing stand. Hello?
Give me Commissioner Patrick.
Hello?
Hello.
You have to talk louder.
I want Commissioner Patrick. Patrick!
Wait a minute. Things are quieting down. Hey, what was that you wanted?
This is Ryan. I have to talk to the commissioner. It's a matter of life and death.
Oh, you can't talk to him now. The chief Martian is presenting the PBA check to him. The Martians are going to fire a salute.
Listen, you gotta stop him.
What?
Stop him!
Sorry, Mr. Ryan, I can't.
You idiot! The worst is over! No, operator. Doesn't matter. Nothing matters now.
Tonight by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Parade, written by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Joseph Curtin as Ryan, Barry Kroger as Lushar, Alexander Scourby as Ron Heilman, music by Albert Behrman. X-1 was produced by Van Woodward and directed by Edward King. Fred Collins speaking. X-1 is an NBC Radio Network production. And now, next week, The Cave of the Night, the gripping story of the first man to pilot an Earth satellite beyond the reach of gravitational pull, and of what happened when a watching world learned that something had gone wrong, that he could never return, that he was doomed to die a lingering death in the arching blackness of the sky, The Cave of Night. Hear it next week at X-1.
Did you ever stop to realize that 4 American coins show us the importance of elections? The first one is the Washington Quarter. It was George Washington who reminded us that on the unity of our government depends our independence, our peace at home and abroad, our safety, prosperity, and our freedom. The second coin is the Jefferson nickel. It was Thomas Jefferson who said, "No government can continue good but under the control of the people." The third coin is a penny, bearing the likeness of Abraham Lincoln, who said, "Among free men, there can be no successful appeal from the ballot to the bullet." And finally, the Roosevelt dime reminds us of something Franklin D. Roosevelt once said. "Every man and every woman in this nation, regardless of party, who have the right to register and to vote, and the opportunity to register and to vote, have also the sacred obligation to register and to vote." These 4 Americans, by recognizing the importance of elections, added another page to your political history.
The magic island of Euclidia in the South Pacific Ocean is a strange place, and strange things are going on near the island. When Jerry and Joan went out in the Euclidean submarine to capture Johnson's rescue boat, they expected thrills and danger, but were certainly not prepared for what has actually happened to them. The submarine came to the surface by standing on end in the water, and Johnson's boat came along right on schedule. But from there, the thing went all wrong. First, Johnson's boat did not stop, but went tearing along toward the location of the island. And next, Captain Bradford in the Euclidean radio room cannot get a message from Johnson. We look into the submarine as it races along after Johnson's boat.
Gee whiz, Joan, but my arm hurts from that magnetism holding him in one position so long.
My arms hurt also, Jerry, but we must not complain. things could be so much worse.
I'll say they could. Johnson's boat could have been sunk back there. Then we'd have had something real to worry about.
Yes, and we know Mother and the captain are all right, for we heard their voices in the control chamber. And the captain's message to Johnson showed that...
Funny thing about that, though, why didn't Johnson answer?
I think his radio must have... Oh, Jerry, look, my arm.
Huh? Oh, boy, we can move again.
You may move enough to come up forward to the control section at once, both of you.
Better let me hang on to your arm, Joan. It's sort of hard to walk on this narrow steel thing after sitting there so stiff all this time.
I like to have you hold my arm, Jerry.
Gee, do you?
Yes, then I can help you if you start to fall down.
Oh, what are you talking about?
You will sit over there, Cleostra, and you here, Hall. We will attempt to reach Johnson with a message.
Well, to tell you the truth, Commander, I can't figure what Johnson's up to when he refused to answer that message of the captain's.
It is a very peculiar situation. Perhaps Johnson was afraid of a trap when Captain Bradford said he was speaking from the Euclidean voice transmission chamber. But did not Johnson start to send a message and then stop?
Yeah, we heard his call letters, heard them repeated. Then the set went dead. Maybe it was your set here, Commander.
It could not be the transmission apparatus here. Mistakes are never made by Euclideans. This equipment is perfect.
Maybe Johnson figured he'd better, lay low until he was sure what he was getting into.
Naturally, Jerry, you have only stated the obvious. Cleostra is correct. Your answer betrays no particular intelligence on your part. And if that is all you have to offer, we will proceed.
Proceed with what?
Our attempts to contact Johnson and warn him.
Warn him of what? He's heading right for the island, and that's where you want him to get, isn't it?
Precisely, but the island is submerged. He might miss it.
Golly whiskers, that's right.
And if the island should be rising out of the water just as Mr. Johnson's boat passed over it, his boat would be wrecked on the top of the island. Precisely.
I wish you wouldn't say that precisely thing all the time. It sounds like G47.
Is there anything about G47 you find objectionable?
Oh, no. He's swell. Yeah, I like him fine. Only he kind of scares me with those surprises he's always springing. It's like finding a snowbank in the desert.
Oh, Jerry, please be careful. Remember that the commander may do as she pleases.
Okay, Joan. All right, Commander. Well, what do you want me to do?
Call Johnson. Advise him of the true state of affairs here and on the island. Ask him why he ran by us, and warn him to lay to before he reaches the position of the island.
Then what?
The generators will be kept active until this is settled. The apparatus is ready. There is the switch. You may operate it. Remember, close it before addressing any communication to me. Proceed. Careful, Jerry.
I know. J12C. Calling J12C. Jerry Hall on Euclidean submarine to J12C. Hello, J12. Hello, J12. Jerry Hall for Captain Bradford. Calling Johnson on J12C. Hello, J12. Hello, J12. Oh, well, that doesn't do much good, does it?
You will wait a few seconds for possible reply, then repeat.
Look, can I ask you a question, Commander?
You may ask a question. I have told you about your speech, Jerry. You must learn.
Oh, well, golly whiskers. Can or may or whatever you want. What I want to know is if it's all right for me to ask you a question.
It is, if the question is proper.
Oh, it's a slick question.
Jerry, the commander will not understand slick.
Okay. It's a clever and vital inquiry as to the nature of a certain phenomena existing in the present situation. How am I doing, babe?
The major portion of your outburst was acceptable. To what do you refer?
Well, Magic Island, Euclidia. It's a secret from the rest of the world, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Then how about all this stuff I'm putting out into the air over this radio now? Calling Johnson and signing this boat and telling him all about the island. Well, and all that.
These waves do not reach beyond the island and are strictly directional.
You mean those waves go out only in a straight line to the island and then stop there?
Precisely.
But don't the signals get weak at the end of that distance?
No, Jerry. When one of your motor cars runs just so far on one charge of gasoline, does it run slower because the gasoline is nearly gone?
Well, of course not. It just runs till the gas is gone, then stops suddenly, all at once.
So it is with the Euclidean voice transmission beam. An excellent explanation, Cleostra. You have done well for so young a Euclidean student. Your question is answered now in terms which your limited mentality may grasp, I trust.
Yeah, just skip me. Act like I'm not here.
But you are here, Jerry.
Oh, thanks for noticing it. I was kind of doubtful there for a minute.
Enough of this. Send another message to Johnson, Hall.
Okay. What'll I tell him?
Get him first. Silence Cleoster. Transmit, Hall.
J12C. Calling J12C. Jerry Hall at J12C. Hello, Johnson. Hello, J12C. Jerry Hall at Johnson. J12C. Calling J12C. Calling J12C. Hello, Johnson. Hello, J12C. Oh, it's no use.
It would seem to be hopeless. I will take over the communication. Silence, both of you. S1 to G47. Commander S1 to G47. S1 reporting.
Ready, G47. Report, S1.
Unable to raise Johnson boat. Your answer checks the proper operation of my beam. We are running a true southerly course to the island. Johnson's boat on surface 8 knots in advance this boat. Cannot raise signal from him. Advise proceed.
What is Johnson's speed?
Stand by. SE1.
Yes, Commander.
Check speed of boat on surface 8 knots advance of this position.
Speed reading is discharge vibrations constant at 35 knots.
Excellent, that is all.
Very good, Commander.
S1 to G47. Speed of surface boat constant at 35 knots.
Correct, Commander. You will proceed on your course exactly.
Captain Bradford on Euclidia. J12C to Bradford.
Proceed, J12C.
We'll talk only to Bradford.
Very well. Captain Bradford will take over.
Hello, J12C. Go ahead, Johnson. Bradford to J12. Go ahead, J12C.
My relief operator has logged a lot of messages here that sound mad. Stories about the island of Euclidia and a transmission room on the island from which your messages have been coming. What's it all about?
Everything just as messages said. Jerry and Joan aboard sub which tried to board you. Why didn't you stop for it?
Did not see it. We were all down in the hold trying to stop leak in the oil tanks. Leaking badly. Think we'll run out of fuel before we reach position of island. Making 35 knots now. 55 miles from island. Fuel supply will not last more than 25 miles at present rate of loss. Also danger from fire. Have you any instructions?
Take all possible precautions against fire. Run as far as fuel will allow. Then lay to and wait for aid. Advise exact position when you stop. Acknowledge.
Run till fuel exhausted, then lay to for aid. Advise exact position then. Is that all? How about it, G47?
That is all.
Okay, Johnson, that is all.
Commander S1.
Yes, G47.
Proceed at your present speed. Orders later. That is all.
Present speed. Orders later. That is all.
Boy, are we going places and hearing things.
It is all very wonderful, is it not, Jerry? I think you are learning a great many things of the efficiency and accuracy of the Euclideans. Are you not, Hall?
Oh, sure. You got a lot of swell scientific wrinkles, all right. But nobody on Euclidean knows anything about being a human being or having any fun.
You mean pleasure, relaxation? Is that what you call fun?
Sure. Have a good time. All this scientific work all the time's no good. Not good for you either.
We have ample recreation on Euclidia. I have told Jerry about our general rest periods, when we may do foolish mathematical and electrochemical problems to suit our pleasure.
Yeah, I heard all about that idea of a good time, but I don't want any of it.
What is your idea of relaxation?
Let me ask you one first. Were you born on Euclidia?
I was. I was the first child born on the island, and I am the chosen commander of the submarine commanders. Isn't that wonderful, Jerry, to command this boat?
Swell. But what do you know about parties, dances, going to picture shows, skating, ball games, and, well, what do you know about any of that?
It all sounds very useless. We will not tolerate those things after Euclidia takes over the world. But there is one thing very nice that I have seen, Commander. What is that? My mother's clothes. Oh, they're lovely. Are they of Euclidean cloth?
You bet they're not.
Then they will not keep out light and sound rays. Anyone can see what you are doing and hear all you say.
Yeah, but in our world, people don't go around snooping into other people's business.
You mean you say and do as you please? There is no one to tell you how to spend your time, and your clothes are better than ours? Oh, yes, Commander. Much nicer. I am sure my mother would let you look at some of her clothes if you would visit the yacht when we get back to the island. I will. Silence. Such talk is stupid. You two remain here. I have business with the engineer in the bow.
Hey, Joan, I got an idea.
Yes, Jerry?
That commander, I've got her wondering about this Euclidia thing.
I do not understand, Jerry.
Well, Captain Bradford said that he thought we'd find a lot of these Euclideans were just prisoners and would be on our side if they saw a real chance to get to our world and be free from all this.
But, Jerry, the commander is a person of power and position on Euclidia. When Euclidia takes over the world, she will command all the fleets of the world.
Maybe. But she's a girl, a 22-year-old girl. And when you started to talk about your mother's dress being so fine and all, she pretty near forgot to act like a machine.
I'm afraid you are mistaken, Jerry. You will be disappointed if you look to the commander for any help.
Look, Joan, the only reason we can't plan to get away from all this is because the Euclideans know everything we say and do. That's right?
Yes, Jerry, and they always will.
No, they won't. When that commander left here just now, she switched off these microphones and amplifiers in this boat. And she did that so we could have a chance to talk. Get it, Joan? We can talk. Nobody can hear us. And the commander fixed it that way on...
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today's serious trouble is brewing at the Daily Planet. Trouble that has Clark Kent gravely worried as editor Perry White fails to keep an appointment with his staff.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, did you know Kellogg's Pep is a wizard at magic? Yes, sir. Pep the Sunshine Cereal has a magic touch that can transform breakfast into a wizard of a meal. And no sleight of hand needed, because any way you look at it, Pep is a slick trick. Just pour out a serving of those crisp light flakes of whole wheat, top with cool milk and sugar, and get set to enjoy yourself. Pep is tender and crisp all at the same time, crunchy and delicate as can be. Pep is full of light sunshine flavor, a come-on flavor that keeps your spoon coming right back for more. Yes, sir, Kellogg's Pep sure has the wonderful magic touch that puts breakfast on the beam every time. And Pep boosts your quota of nutrition, too. Gives you solid whole wheat nourishment plus. So you're on the right track if you polish off every tender, crisp flake in your bowl. And say, gang, here's another angle. Nowadays, the cereal grains, like the whole wheat and Kellogg's Pep, are being sent to fellows and girls overseas. So it's not a good idea to waste cereal. Eat up every bit that you pour into your dish. That's a cinch, isn't it? Just be sure to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Now, the adventures of Superman. When John Grayson, millionaire publisher of the Daily Planet, appointed a stranger named Homer Smith to direct the policies of the paper, Smith's first move was to order editor Perry White to withdraw the Planet's support from the World Peace Federation and to attack it instead. Shocked, White, Lois Lane, and Jimmy Olsen wanted to resign, but were persuaded not to by Clark Kent, who said that Grayson was being coerced by some mysterious fear. When a clause was discovered in White's contract, giving him full authority to determine the Planet's editorial policy, he gleefully defied Smith. Enraged, Smith made a private phone call, and that evening, White failed to keep an appointment with Kent and Lois. As we continue now in the dining room of the Metropolis Hotel, Jimmy has just joined Kent and Lois. Listen.
I just talked to Poco at the chief's house. He hasn't heard from him either.
And Beanie says he didn't come back to the office after he left me.
I called the newspaper club, and he isn't there either. But he left word there that he could be reached here.
Gosh, where do you suppose he is?
Can't imagine, Jim.
He might have been in an accident, Clark.
Oh, that's not likely, Lois. The police would have notified the office.
But something must have happened to him. He wouldn't just keep us waiting here for an hour and a half and not even telephone.
Yeah, I know. Look, Jim, you say you saw him get into a cab?
Uh-huh, when we left his lawyer's office.
Yeah?
He sent me over to the vault to deposit his contract and said he'd meet me here at the hotel.
He got the cab in front of the Balsam building?
Right.
What kind of a cab was it, do you remember?
Well, it was a Packard, one of those privately owned hacks.
Oh? You remember what the driver looks like?
The driver?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We're wasting time, Clark. I think we ought to get in touch with Inspector Henderson.
Just a moment, Lois. Do you remember what the driver looked like, Jim?
Yeah, sure. He was a little red-headed guy with a turned-up nose.
Oh?
I remember because he reminded me of Mickey Rooney.
Good boy. All right, you and I'll go over there, Jim, and see if we can...
This is no time to play detective talk. We've got to get in touch with Inspector Henderson.
All right, you do that, Lois. Then call the office again and call Poco. Leave word to call you here if they hear from the chief.
But I'm going to headquarters.
You are not. It's just possible the chief was delayed and will turn up here, so someone has to stay.
Oh, yes.
Jim and I are going over to the Balsam building and see if we can find that taxi driver. We'll contact you later. Come on, Jim. Still don't see the driver, huh, Jim?
No. Maybe he quit for the day, Mr. Kent.
Well, that isn't likely. The chief got in his cab around 6 o'clock, and drivers on duty then usually work through the night.
Oh. But why do you think the driver will come back to the Balsam building?
Because you said his cab was parked waiting for a fare when you saw it. There's a hack sign at the curb there, so chances are this particular driver used this stand.
Oh, that's right. I didn't notice the sign.
Uh-oh, cab just pulled in there. Come on, Jim.
Where? Oh, yeah. Oh, but that isn't the driver, Mr. Kent. I told you, he was a little red-headed guy.
I know, but this fellow might know something about it.
Oh.
Pardon me, buddy.
Get in, Mac, get in. Where do you want to go?
We don't want to go anyplace. We'd just like some information, if you don't mind.
Can you beat it? You're the third guy in 5 minutes wanting information.
What?
One guy asked where the subway is, another one if I can see his little dog, which is lost, and a dame asked me how she can go out to visit a rampant builder in Metropolis Heights without taking a cab.
That's very interesting,
but look, Mac, am I running a hack or an information bureau? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I see your point. Well, here, maybe this will pay you for your time in answering a question or two.
Oh, well, what do you know? $5. Hey, you're a right Joe, Mac. Fire away. What do you want to know? Ask me anything.
We're looking for a cab driver who was parked here a couple of hours ago at just about 6 o'clock. He drove an independently owned Packard cab.
Yeah, he's a little red-headed guy with a turned-up nose. It looks kind of like Mickey Rooney.
I don't know hacky that looks like Mickey Rooney.
You don't?
I don't hardly know any hackies. I just got separated from the Army, see? This is my first day driving a hack.
Oh, sure. I see. Did you happen to be parked here around 6 this evening?
6 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
No. I was taking a fare over to Marshall Square about that time. Wacky old party. Let me tell you about him.
I'm sorry, but we're in a hurry. Thanks very much, though.
For nothing.
You're welcome, Mac. Come again anytime.
Well, that was a washout. What do we do now, Mr. Kent? Keep waiting around to see if our driver shows up?
No, I don't think so. Jim, we've been here an hour already. Anyway, I just thought of a surer way of locating him.
Oh, how?
I'll show you if necessary after we've talked to Lois. She might have heard from the chief by now.
Gosh, I hope so. I'm getting awful worried.
All right, come on. There's a drugstore on the corner. I'll call her from there. Not yet, Lois. How about you?
Not a thing.
Uh-oh.
I called the office again, and Mr. White's house, the newspaper club, and his lawyer, and every place else I could think of, but it's no soap.
Oh.
Now, I'm really getting scared, Clark. Here it is almost 3 hours since he was supposed to meet us, and then...
Whoa. Take it easy, Lois. Did you call Inspector Henderson?
Yes, of course, right after you and Jim left.
Uh-huh.
He said he'd do what he can, but he hasn't called back yet.
Well, he hasn't had much time. Now, look, Jim and I are going over to headquarters.
What for?
We're going to check on a hack driver at the Public Vehicle Bureau.
Oh.
I want you to call John Grayson, our publisher, and tell him the chief is missing.
Yes.
Tell him...
I did. I've already called him. He's out of town.
He is?
Yes.
Where did he go, do you know?
No, the butler didn't know either, and Mrs. Grayson's out. She won't be back until about 11.
That's odd. Grayson didn't say anything about leaving town when the chief and I saw him this morning.
So what?
Well, nothing, maybe.
Maybe? What do you mean?
No, I'd rather not talk about it yet. Now, look, Lois, you stay at the hotel,
so useless, Clark, and the house detective's beginning to look at me suspiciously.
Well, show him your press card and stay there. If anything turns up, call me at the Public Vehicle Bureau at police headquarters. Have you got that?
Yes, I have, but, Clark, I'm terribly worried.
Well, frankly, so am I. I'll call you later.
I never knew there were so many taxi drivers in Metropolis, Mr. Kent. I'll bet I've looked at 1,000 photographs.
Oh, hardly that many, Jim. I only showed you the ones whose description mentions red hair.
Well, now what?
Well, we've gone through all the photographs in the police files.
Well, we couldn't if we haven't found the driver we're looking for yet.
Either you missed him among these photographs...
No, I didn't. I remember what he looked like.
Well, then this is really beginning to look serious, Jim.
What do you mean?
I mean that apparently the man who drove Mr. White from the Balsam building this evening was not a registered hack driver.
But he must have been. He had a regular taxi.
Not one of the big fleet cabs, but a privately owned one.
Well, sure, but...
It isn't hard to take a limousine and paint taxi and the rate charges on the doors.
Huh? No, I guess it isn't. Why should anyone want to do that?
Because it's an excellent way to avoid leaving a trail, that's why. Once the job is over, the paint is removed from the doors, and the driver, who isn't registered as a hacky, merely disappears.
Jeepers. You think somebody waited for Mr. White in a phony cab And then took him away someplace?
That's exactly what I think, Jim.
But who?
I'm not sure.
And why?
I'm not sure of that either, but I've got an idea.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, I think... Uh-oh, it's past 11 o'clock. I've got to be going.
Where?
Well, there's no time to explain now.
There you go with that no time to explain stuff again.
Please, Jim, don't interrupt me. I want you to promise me something.
What's that?
I want your word that you'll go straight home in a taxi I'll put you in, and that you'll stay home until you come to work tomorrow.
But why can't I go with you?
Because you can't, and that's that. You're in danger enough as it is.
Danger? Me?
Yes, you and Lois, too, and I'm not sure who else. That's why I'm making sure Lois doesn't leave the Metropolis Hotel until I call for her.
But I don't get it. What danger are we in?
Well, if I'm right, and I think I am, you're in great danger from the same people who caused Mr. White's disappearance.
What?
How about it, Jim? You're holding me up on something very important. Will you promise me to go right home and stay there?
Well, if you put it that way...
Attaboy. All right, come on now. We'll find a cab and send you home. And then just keep your fingers crossed that my little hunch will work out.
Reluctantly and nervously, too, Jimmy Olsen accompanies Clark Kent from police headquarters. What hunch is Kent about to follow? We'll return in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, come and get it, gang. We're all set to give you the steer on this week's Pet Dish of the Week. And is it a rip snorter? It's called Peach Roundup. Yes, sir, Peach Roundup, a brand new dish with brand new fixins for Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Now, here's how you rustle it up. Place half a peach in your breakfast bowl. Cover it with your regular serving of Pep, and top with the other peach half, round side up. Add cool milk and sugar, and there's your Peach Roundup. Just wait till your folks see the high, wide, and handsome dish you've shaped up. Why, there's bound to be a regular stampede. So dig right in pronto and get that terrific peach and Pep flavor. You'll say those crisp, tender flakes of Kellogg's Pep are mighty fine grazing. Why, Pep's smooth, full wheat flavor goes over big every time. Each golden toasted flake has you wanting more of the same till your bowl's clean empty, which is the right idea, particularly nowadays when we're sending the grains to fellows and girls across the seas. So remember to eat every bit of Pep you pour into your dish. Make it a habit to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Jimmy Olsen has just returned to his house. Calling out to his mother, who was in her room upstairs, that he will go to bed directly, the young reporter enters the kitchen for a glass of milk. He is opening the refrigerator when the telephone rings. Quickly, he goes into the dining room and answers.
Hello?
Is this James Olsen?
Yes.
Do you by any chance know Mr. Perry White?
Do I? I'll say I do. He's my boss and he's... Wait a minute. What about him?
He gave me a message for you.
He did? For me? For when? Where?
Well, as a matter of fact, the message was first for Mr. Clark Kent and then for Miss Lois Lane and finally for you.
Oh, well, they're out. What about this message? Where did you get it and what is it?
Please, don't be so impetuous. I've had a great deal of trouble about this message already. I've also lost at least 2 hours of sleep.
Well, then, tell me what it is, will you, please?
Well, it isn't something I can tell you. I must give it to you.
What do you mean?
Well, it's in a sealed envelope, and I never open other people's mail. If you wish it, you must come over here for it.
Oh, yeah? Come where?
To the newspaper club.
A newspaper club?
Exactly. I shall be in the library doing my best to keep awake. But hurry, please.
Okay, but wait, what's your name? How'd you get... Hello? 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 Doggone it, he hung up. Jeepers, I don't get this. But he said he had a message from Mr. White, and he's at the newspaper club. Well, I promised Mr. Kent I'd stay home, but... Oh, there can't be any danger there. I better get over there right away.
Despite his promise to Clark Kent not to leave his house, Jimmy Olsen grabs his hat and runs out. What will happen now? Who phoned the boy reporter saying he had a message from Perry White? Can it be true? Tomorrow's episode is tense and exciting, fellows and girls, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Say, gang, when you think of famous names, do you think of Kellogg? You know, that's the greatest name in cereals. And Kellogg makes Kellogg shredded wheat, the tender plump biscuits, made just the right size to fit your breakfast bowl. And are they good? Full to the brim with natural nut sweet flavor. Good for you, too. They're made of nutritious whole wheat. What's more, Kellogg gives you 15 delicious biscuits in every package of Kellogg shredded wheat. Try them soon. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Worried about the price of butter and eggs? Fed up with the housing shortage? Want to get away from it all?
CBS offers you Escape.
You're alone and unarmed in the green hell of a Caribbean jungle. You're being trailed by a pack of fiercely hungry dogs and a mad hunter armed for the kill. A mad hunter who believes that you, a human being, are the most dangerous game.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Escape, produced by William N. Robeson and directed tonight by Richard Sanville. Escape, carefully planned to free you from the four walls of today, free you for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to an island in the Caribbean and the weird sportsmanship of a madman, as Richard Conrad tells it in his unforgettable story, The Most Dangerous Game.
My name is Rainsford. You may have heard of me. I make my living hunting big game for many of the major museums of the world, guiding parties of sportsmen on safari in Africa, Tibet, and South America. Perhaps you've had occasion to run across some of my books. But even if you have, there's one incident you won't find described in them. The full story of my most terrible hunt. It all began on board a private yacht en route to Rio. Whitney, my host, and I were smoking our pipes on deck, lounging back in steamer chairs, enjoying the sensuous drowsiness of the warm night.
Good dinner, eh?
Excellent. Afraid I ate too much, though.
Care for some gin rummy?
Oh, no, I don't care to move.
All right. There's a rather large island off there to the right somewhere. It's something of a mystery.
Really? Oh, I didn't know. What island is it?
The old charts call it Shiptrap Island. Suggestive name, isn't it? Sailors have a curious dread of the place. Some superstition.
I can't see it.
Well, you have good eyes, but even you can't see 4 miles or so through a moonless Caribbean night.
No, not even 4 yards. It is dark, isn't it?
It'll be light enough in Rio. Oh, by the way, hope the guns have come from Purdy's. We should have some good jaguar hunting up the Amazon. Great sport, hunting.
Best in the world.
Yes, for the hunter, not for the jaguar.
Oh, why not? They've no understanding.
Well, even so, I rather think they understand one thing. Fear. The fear of pain, the fear of death.
Huh? Oh, Rod Whitney. Who cares how the jaguar feels?
Perhaps the jaguar does.
Oh, you're a big game hunter, not a philosopher. Look, the world is made up of 2 classes. The hunter and the hunted. We're lucky enough to be the hunters. You think we've passed that island yet?
Yeah, can't tell in the dark. I hope so.
Why?
Oh, the place has a reputation. A bad one.
Cannibals?
Hardly. Even cannibals wouldn't live in such an isolated spot. But it's gotten into sailors' legends somehow. Did you notice? The crew seemed jumpy today.
Yeah, they were a bit strange now that you mention it.
Yes, it's a sort of dread, a kind of mental chill.
I'll be hanged if I haven't felt it myself.
Oh, pure imagination. Well, one superstitious sailor can infect a whole ship's company with his fear.
Maybe. Though sometimes sailors have an extra sense which tells them when they're in danger. Well, enough of that. I think I'll turn in.
I'm not sleepy. I'll just have another pipe.
Well, good night, then. See you in the morning.
Yes. Good night, Whitney. It was very dark. So dark I could have slept without closing my eyes. The night would have been my eyelids. I puffed at my pipe, got drowsy. Then I was wide awake. A gun out there in the water, a gun. I sprang to the rail, strained my eyes in the direction of those shots, but I couldn't see a thing. I leaped up on the rail to get better elevation, and my pipe, striking a rope, was knocked out of my mouth. I lunged for it, and tight fingers closed around my heart as I realized I'd reached too far and lost my balance. The blood-warm waters of the Caribbean closed over my head. When I came to the surface, the wash from the speeding yacht slapped salt water into my mouth, making me gag and strangling me. I coughed and spat it out and found my voice. Help! 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 The lights from the boat moved steadily away. They quickly became faint fireflies. And then they were blotted out by the night. I struggled out of my clothes and turned to the direction from which I'd heard those shots. I began swimming, slowly, conserving my strength. For an endless time, I fought the sea. Then I began to count my strokes. Thought I could possibly do another 100 before Someone was shooting game. Almost at my very elbow, it seemed. Gave me fresh vitality. I swam toward the sound. Then I was in the breakers. In another moment, I was dragging myself from the swirling waters, pulling myself hand over hand onto the narrow beach, gasping, panting for breath. I saw that the dense jungle came down to the edge of the cliff, and I was on land, on blessed land, safe on the soft, warm sand. I awoke late in the afternoon, the sharp hunger picking at me. As I slowly came to my feet, I saw, not far from where I'd been lying, signs of a terrible struggle in the underbrush that sloped so sharply to the beach. Some wounded thing, evidently a large animal, had thrashed about there in its death fight. And almost at my feet was a small glittering object, an empty cartridge from a .22. That was odd. The hunter had had his nerve to tackle a large brute with so small a gun. I examined the ground closely and found what I'd hoped for. The print of hunting boots. They pointed up toward a recess in the cliff, and I hurried quickly after them, for night was beginning to settle on the island. It was already dark when I came upon it. First I thought it was a village. There were so many lights. But as I came closer, I saw that all the lights were in one building, a chateau on a high bluff. In a few moments, my bare feet were padding up stone steps, and I stood in front of the massive oaken door. Good evening. Oh, please don't be alarmed. There's no need for that gun. I'm no robber. It sounds silly, but I fell off a yacht. My name is Sanger Rainsford of New York City. He was certainly not alarmed by me, this giant who stood facing me. The revolver in his hand continued to point steadily at my chest, and the man behind it was solidly built and black-bearded to the waist, and silent. He waved me in with the gun and closed the door behind me. I was in a huge hall, but there was no time to look around. Another man was coming down the broad marble stairs, an erect, slender man in evening clothes. I stepped toward him. I've just been explaining to this chap that I've had an accident. My name is Sanger Rainsford.
It is a great pleasure and honor to welcome Mr. Rainsford, the celebrated hunter, to my home.
Well, thank you.
I've read your book on hunting snow leopards in Tibet. I'm General Zarov.
Believe me, General, I'm very happy to see you.
All right, Ivan, you can put down that gun. This gentleman is a guest. Ivan is an incredibly strong fellow, but he has the misfortune to be a mute. A simple thing, but a bit of a savage.
I'm even happy to see him.
Come, we should not be chatting here. You want clothes, food, rest. You shall have them. This is a most restful spot.
I can't tell you how grateful I am.
It is my pleasure. Follow Ivan, if you please, Mr. Rainsford. I was about to have my dinner, but it can wait. I think my clothes will fit you.
I followed the man into a huge beam-ceiling bedroom with a canopied bed large enough for 6 men. Ivan silently laid out an evening suit. And as I put it on, I noticed it came from a London tailor. And Whitney'd called this place too isolated even for cannibals. I went downstairs and sat down opposite Zaroff in a dining room that suggested a baronial hall of feudal times. The food was excellent.
Perhaps you were surprised that I recognized your name, but I read all books on hunting, published in English, French, and Russian. I have but one passion in life, and that is the hunt.
Why, I notice you have some wonderful heads here. Well, that Cape Buffalo over there is the largest I've ever seen.
Oh, that fellow. Yes, he charged me, threw me against a tree, fractured my skull. But I got the brute.
I've always thought the Cape Buffalo the most dangerous of all big game.
No, the Cape Buffalo is not the most dangerous.
No?
Here in my preserve on this island, I hunt more dangerous game.
What, is there big game on this island?
The biggest?
Really?
Oh, it is not here naturally. I had to stock the island.
Well, what have you imported, General? Tigers?
No. Hunting tigers ceased to interest me when I exhausted their possibilities. There is no thrill left in tigers, no real danger. I live for danger. Cigarette, Mr. Rainsford.
Please.
We will have some capital hunting, you and I.
But what game?
I'll tell you. You will be amused, I know. I think I may say in all modesty that I have done a rare thing. I have invented a new sensation. May I pour you another glass of port?
Thank you.
I have been a hunter all my life, but after many years of enjoyment, I found that the hunt no longer fascinated me. It had ceased to be what you call a sporting proposition. I always got my quarry. Always. And there is no greater bore than perfection.
Then you were a very good hunter, General.
No. I had merely discovered that the animal has nothing but his legs and his instincts. Instinct is no match for reason. When I realized this, it was a tragic moment for me. As I told you, I love to hunt. And then it came to me as an inspiration what I must do.
And that was?
I had to invent a new animal to hunt.
A new animal? Why, you're joking.
I assure you I am not, sir. A new animal, and so I found one. I bought this island, built this house, and here I do my hunting. The island is perfect for my purpose. There are jungles with a maze of trails in them, hills, swamps.
And the animals, General Zara?
It supplies me with the most intense excitement of all. I never grow bored now, for I have a quarry with which I can match my wits. An ideal quarry, with courage, cunning, and above all, reason.
But no animal can reason.
My dear fellow, there is one that can.
I can't believe you're serious. But it's some grisly joke.
Of course I'm serious. I'm speaking of hunting.
You're speaking of murder.
Surely your experiences in the
Did
war...
not make me condone cold-blooded murder.
I'll wager you'll forget your notions when you go hunting with me. Why, you've a genuine new thrill in store for you, Mr. Raines.
Thank you. I'm a hunter, not a murderer.
Oh, dear me, that unfortunate word again. But I hunt the scum of the earth, sailors from tramp ships, lascars, mongrels...
Where do you get them?
This island is called Ship Trap. There is a row of lights out there on the reef which indicate a channel where there is none, only rocks. I control the lights from my tower.
You wreck their ships and then you shoot down the men.
Oh, but I treat my visitors with every consideration. They get plenty of good food and exercise. They get into splendid physical condition. You shall see for yourself tomorrow. Would you like some more pork, please?
What shall I see tomorrow?
We'll visit my training school. It's in the cellar. I have about a dozen there now. Sailors. Inferior lot, I regret to say. More accustomed to the deck than the jungle. Ivan, we'll have our coffee now. Thick Turkish coffee, Mr. Rainsford. Very good.
No.
Is your appetite quite gone?
No coffee, thank you.
Just one, Ivan. It is a game, you see. I suggest to one of them that we go hunting. I give him 3 hours start. I am to follow, armed only with pistol of smallest caliber and range. My quarry eludes me for 3 whole days. He wins the game. If I find him, he loses.
And if he refuses to be hunted?
Well, I give him the option. If he won't hunt, I turn him over to Ivan here. Ivan once served as official executioner to the great white Tsar, and he has his own ideas of sport. Invariably, they choose the hunt.
And if they win?
To date, I have not lost. I don't wish you to think me a braggart. Once did almost win. Eventually, I had to use the dogs.
The dogs?
Yes. Just step over here to the window a moment. I want you to see my courtyard. Go ahead, Mr. Rainford. Open the window, please. And I have a dozen, as you can see. They are let out at 7 every night. If anyone should try to get into my house or out of it, well, it would be regrettable. And now I want to show you my new collection of heads. Will you come with me to the library, please?
I hope you'll excuse me tonight. I'm really not feeling at all well.
Oh, I am sorry. You need a good, restful night's sleep. Tomorrow you'll feel like a new man, and then we'll hunt. I wonder the promising prospect.
But I was already hurrying from the room and up the marble stairway. I heard him calling after me.
Sorry you can't go with me tonight. I expect rather fair sport, a big, strong native from west coast of Africa. He looks resourceful.
The bed was good. I was tired, but I didn't sleep. I didn't toss or turn. I didn't move. I just lay rigidly in one spot, my eyes on the ceiling, my arms tight against my side, my breathing slow and heavy, my mind empty, waiting. The inky black was just beginning to dissolve. A thin line of gray was just beginning to seep insidiously into my room when Zaroff found his quarry. Then, I suppose I slept. When I awoke, the sun's shadows were already slanting through my room. Must have been well after noon. I came down to find General Zaroff pouring himself a glass of brandy by the sideboard.
Mr. Rainsford, feeling better, I trust?
Yes.
I wish I could say the same. No, I'm not well. Hunting was no good last night. He made a straight trail, offered no problems at all.
General, I want to leave the island at once.
Mr. Rainsford, tonight we will hunt, you and I.
No, General. I've told you I will not hunt.
I beg you to reconsider. My idea of sport is much more diverting than Ivan.
You mean that?
Yes. You and I. It's really an inspiration. A foeman worthy of my steel at last. Oh, you'll find this game worth playing, Rainsford. Your brain against mine. Your woodcraft against mine. Your strength and stamina against mine. It's outdoor chess. And the stake is not without value, eh?
And if I win?
If I do not find you by midnight of the 3rd day, then I'm defeated. My sloop will place you on the mainland near a town. Oh, you can trust me. I give you my word as a gentleman and as a sportsman. Of course, you in turn must agree to say nothing of your visit here.
I'll agree to say nothing of the kind.
Well, in that case, why discuss it now? 3 days from now, we can chat about it over a bottle of Veuve Clicquot. Unless... And now listen, Rainsford. Ivan will supply you with hunting clothes, food, and knife. I suggest you wear moccasins. They leave a poorer trail. I suggest, too, you avoid the big swamp in the southeast corner of the island. There's quicksand there. And now you'll want to start, no doubt. I shall not follow until dusk. Hunting at night is so much more exciting than by day, don't you think, Mr. Rainsford? Good hunting.
I kept telling myself through tight teeth that I had to keep my head. Keep my head. My first idea had been to put distance between myself and Zaroff, and so I'd plunged into the jungle in a blind panic. Before long, I shook it off and stopped. Straight flight was futile. It would only bring me out to the sea. Then I hit upon the idea of giving him a trail to follow. I would begin our dangerous game by playing the fox. For more than 2 hours, I went through the trackless wilderness, executing a series of intricate loops, doubling again and again on my trail. Night found me leg-weary, with hands and face lashed by the branches. I needed rest badly, and having played the fox, I decided now to play the cat. I climbed into the crotch of a huge tree. An apprehensive night crawled slowly by like a wounded snake. Then at dawning, a startled bird suddenly screamed, and I flattened against the bough. Through a screen of leaves as thick as tapestry, I saw the general. Came slowly, his eyes fixed on the ground. Almost beneath my tree, he paused and went down on one knee, studying the ground. I would have gone for him, leaping the way a panther does, except for the small automatic in his right hand. After a seemingly endless time, he came back to his feet. His eyes left the ground and traveled inch by inch up the tree. I froze, every muscle tensed for a spring. But the hunter's eyes stopped just before they reached the limb on which I lay. A slow smile spread over his brown face.
Oh, Rainsford, where can you have gone? Wherever are you, you clever dog? I simply must go home and lie down a bit to think this over.
The pent-up air burst hotly from my lungs as he turned back and disappeared. So, the general was playing with me, was saving me for another day's sport. Zaroff was the cat, and I was the mouse. In that moment, I knew the real meaning of terror. I slipped from the tree and set off into the woods. I'd only gone a few hundred yards when I found a huge dead tree leaning against a smaller living one. I pulled my knife from its sheath and set to work. When the job was finished, I threw myself down behind a log 100 feet away. How long I waited, I don't know. It seemed like days. It was probably only a few hours. Then he was coming again, with the sureness of a bloodhound. Nothing escaped those searching black eyes. No crushed blade of grass, no bent twig, no mark, however faint, in the moss. He was so intent on his stalking, it was upon the thing before he saw it, his foot touching the protruding branch that was the trigger. The dead tree, delicately adjusted to rest on the cut living one, crashed heavily to the earth. And I waited yet another moment, not daring to look up and see if it really had done its work.
Rainsford, if you're within the sound of my voice, let me congratulate you. There aren't many men who know how to make a melee man-catcher. I am a lucky man, Rainsford. My reflexes are still good. Did you see me spring back even while it was falling? Rainsford, can you hear me? You are proving interesting. I'm going back now to have my wound dressed. Don't be alarmed. It's only a slight one. I shall be back. I shall be back.
It was dark, and I'd been going for hours. The vegetation became ranker. Insects were biting me savagely. And when mud began sucking viciously at my feet like giant leeches, I knew where I was. About to enter the death swamp with its quicksand. However, the softness of the earth gave me an idea. I stepped back about a dozen paces out of the quicksand and began to dig. When the pit was above my shoulders, I climbed out, and from some hard saplings I cut stakes, sharpening them to a fine point. I planted the stakes at the bottom of the pit, with their points up. With flying fingers, I wove a rough carpet of weeds and branches, and with it I covered the mouth of the pit. Then, wet with sweat and aching with tiredness, I crouched behind the stump of a lightning-blasted tree. I heard the padding sound of feet on the soft earth. I knew he was coming. The night wind brought me the perfume of the General's black cigarette. Although I could see nothing, it seemed to me that he was coming with unusual swiftness, that he was not feeling his way along foot by foot. In one brief moment, I lived an entire year. Then I heard the sharp crackle of breaking branches. The cover of the pit gave way.
You've done well, Rainsford. Very well. Where did you get the tie? Your Burmese tiger pit has claimed one of my best dogs. And so you score again. I must see what you can do now against my whole pack.
He went away again. But I just lay there in the swamp that night. At daybreak, I was awakened by a distant sound, faint and wavering. The baying of a pack of hounds. I went up into a tree. Down a watercourse, not a quarter of a mile away, I could see the bush moving. I strained my eyes and saw the lean figure of General Zaroff. Just ahead of him, I made out the gigantic Ivan, holding the pack in leash. I prepared for the native trick I've learned in Uganda. I slipped from the tree, caught hold of a springy young sapling, and to it fastened my knife, its blade pointing down the trail. With a bit of wild grapevine, I tied back the sapling and ran for my life. The hounds hit the fresh scent and raised their voices, and I knew how an animal at bay must feel. Even as I ran, the clamor of the hounds suddenly ceased. With it, my heart stopped. For that meant they'd reached the knife. I climbed excitedly up a tree and looked back, and hope died in my brain. The general was still on his feet. Ivan, however, was not. The knife, driven by the recoil of the springing tree, had done its work. Then the dogs took up the cry again, and I was on the ground once more. Nerve, nerve. I panted the words over and over as I fled headlong. A blue gap showed through the trees dead ahead. I forced myself up on towards the gap and reached the sea. It lay 20 feet below me, rumbling and hissing. I stood a moment, poised over the edge. I heard the hounds. I knew it was the end. Then I leaped far out into the water.
Well, it's been a busy day, eh, Adam? A busy day. Oh, down, Adam, down. What's the matter, my boy? Hungry? All right, catch. It's quite a day. Not perfect, of course. Two slight annoyances. One is it will be difficult to replace Ivan. And the other, well, our quarry escaped us, didn't he, Adam? Then, of course, the American didn't really play the game. So we won't count it. We won't count it at all. All right, my boy. That's enough for now. Out you go with the rest. Better luck another time. Rainsford.
Good evening, Jack.
How did you get here?
I swam. I found that quicker than walking through the jungle.
I congratulate you. You have won the game.
No, General.
Yes. Yes, of course you have.
I'm still a beast at bay. Get ready, General Zaroff.
I see. Splendid. One of us is to furnish a meal for the hounds. The other will sleep in this very excellent bed. Good, Rainsford. Good.
The general was right. Never before in my life had I slept in a better bed.
is produced by William N. Robeson and was directed tonight by Richard Sanville. You have escaped tonight in the Richard Connell story, The Most Dangerous Game, adapted for radio by Irving Ravitch, with Paul Freese as Sango Rainsford and Hans Conried as General Zaroff. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Pure. Next week,
you're sitting at the throttle of a speeding locomotive, screaming around the curves of a mountain gorge, racing against time with death at your shoulder. Next week, you're the engineer of the Yellow Mail.
Next week, CBS offers you Escape with Frank H. Spearman's exciting story of railroading the run of the Yellow Mail. Until this same time next week, then, good night. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk. And Nestle's chocolate bars now present Space Patrol. High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are in the Jupiter City atmosphere plant searching for a powerful bomb hidden by the criminal Boger.
Commander, listen. Hear that? The timing device. We're close to it. Here, this way. There it is. Oh, I can figure out how to deactivate this thing. 10 seconds, Commander. It's getting ready to go off. If this isn't the right control, Jupiter City will be blown off the planet.
We'll return in just a moment with the thrilling story, The City of Hidden Doom.
Space Patrollers, this is Commander Corey. Let me ask you something. When Mom and Dad had their breakfast coffee this morning, did you have a good hot drink? You know, you need a real warm-up for all-day power. That's why you should always start the day the Space Patrol way with a big cup of Nestle's Instant Cocoa. It's just loaded with good hot nourishment for real energy. And Nestle's makes the greatest hot cocoa you've ever tasted. It's rich, it's smooth, it's delicious. It's really out of this universe. Now wait till you see what fun it is to fix. Now, Nestle's Ever-Ready is so easy it just about makes it simple. Now listen, here's all you do. Just put 1, 2, 3 teaspoons of Nestle's in your cup and add hot water. That's all. Now, you're all ready to drink it and get your supply of morning pep. Nestle's Ever-Ready is the complete cocoa, too. You add nothing but water because whole milk and sugar are already in it. You ought to see the lineup around here when they sound a Nestle's. Everybody goes for that delicious Nestle's chocolate flavor. That goes for me, too. Why don't you get the Nestle's Space Patrol habit and ask Mom to stock your galley with Nestle's and drink it regularly, the way we do. And you'll have power to spare. That's Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa in the bright red can.
And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The City of Hidden Doom. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy are aboard the Terra 5, bound for the planet Jupiter, where the governors of the 5 outer planets are holding a conference. Whatever problems these great leaders have to discuss, Buzz knows they are no more important than the one that faces him as Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. The entire United Planets are at the mercy of a criminal who controls a device that makes matter invisible. Walls and locked doors are no barriers, and delicate warning systems are no restraint to Rolf Boger in his pursuit of crime. Thinking of this powerful enemy, Happy has been unusually silent on this flight to Jupiter.
Worried about Boger, Happy?
You guessed it. For all we know, he might be right on our tail right now in that invisible spaceship of his, and we'd never know it.
He might be it, huh?
He can go anywhere he wants to and steal whatever he wants. And nobody will know about it until they discover what's missing. Being invisible gives Boger every advantage.
No, not quite. When a crime's committed with no clues at all, you'll know that Boger did it.
A lot of good that does. But he can get away with it again and again.
There's another thing to remember.
Bolger can steal money while he's invisible, but he can't spend it that way.
Yeah. If we could only nab him when he's on a spending spree.
That'll depend on Bolger's temperament. He's like most crooks. There'll come a time when he'll have to show off, make a big public splurge.
But that might not be for weeks or months. You know, Commander, I've been thinking, what's to keep Bolger from coming to the governor's conference? Being invisible, he could be right in the room listening to secret information.
That's one reason we're going to be there, huh?
But if he's invisible, what can we do?
They've forgotten those belts and electronic spectacles we took from Bolger's men.
Hey, that's right. If Bolger turns on that high frequency field to make himself invisible, we'll be invisible, too. And we can see Bolger and capture him.
Well, we couldn't fool Bolger that easily. Besides, I wanted to think I was come to Jupiter City to guard the governor. To give us freedom of movement for a plan I put into operation.
You're trying to trap Bolger?
Yeah. He's got big ideas. We need more equipment. Equipment and materials that are hard to get.
For his frequency field transmitters and the control box.
Right. Our security lab technicians have examined the few pieces of Bolger's paraphernalia that we've captured. They don't know how it works, but they know the materials that go into it. Now, here's the general idea. In
the
city of
Thuban, on the planet Saturn, Ralph Bolger has set up temporary headquarters almost next door to the local Space Patrol unit. Working at his desk, Bolger seems to be completely unaware that a visitor is materializing out of nothingness only a few feet away. As the visitor turns the control on his belt, Bolger flips a switch on a panel on his right.
Yes, Rubeck, what is it?
Well, Commander Corey is in Jupiter City. Corey's at the governor's conference. Major Robertson, the security chief, will act as executive officer at Terra headquarters.
Did you find out anything else?
No. I didn't wander around because I didn't want to step outside the beam and suddenly find myself visible with the Space Patrol guards all around me.
So Corey's guarding the governor, huh? Mm-hmm. We are blasting off right away for Jupiter City.
But Corey's there. Didn't you just say
I said to listen. Now, I have managed to pick up some very interesting information. Information about the shipment of some very hard-to-get electronics equipment.
Yes? What kind?
Elements we can use in our transmitters.
Where is it?
In the warehouse, 23 at Jupiter City Spaceport. Now, here's the plan I worked out. When we get to Jupiter City, we'll get a large surface truck, a van. There will be a field transmitter in the truck to make it invisible.
That's great. Park it close to the warehouse, fill it up with invisible equipment, take it to our spaceship and blast off.
During the few short hours of night on Jupiter, the small warehouse, number 23, is deserted. Buzz and Happy wait in a tiny locked office, each of them wearing a belt that, when energized by an ultra-vibration field, will make them invisible. On their foreheads, ready to be snapped into place over their eyes, are the special electronic spectacles that let a totally invisible person see ordinary matter as well as other invisible objects. Happy peers through a small hole in the office partition, watching a stack of crates.
What is it, sir? It's starting to fade out. Oh. So are you, Commander?
We're becoming invisible. It means our belts are picking up radiation from Bolger's transmitter.
It must be outside the warehouse.
Put the spectacles in the case. I'll catch back to the equipment.
Yes, sir. Somebody just stepped through the wall of the warehouse, sir.
Is it there? What's it going to do?
No, sir.
We're going to decide on stuff this office.
There's walking toward the equipment now.
I'm sure it's a bad house, but I could move back. Not a soul in sight. I've located what we're after. The van isn't any too big either. There's quite a lot of stuff here. Make sure that there's no watchmen around. Now, there's nobody here. Anyway, there's a small office just to the right of the crate. It's like it's locked up.
Go inside and make sure. I divided the electronic field so we can walk through the partition.
All right. Nobody in the office, Bolger.
All right. Get busy and load the van.
Some of those boxes are pretty big. I may need some help.
I am not leaving the truck unless I have to. Get busy.
All right.
Bolger's probably in the cab of the truck. We could grab him while his pal Rubeck is in the warehouse.
I can't feel his dangerous now. Bolger would suddenly alter to cut it off. Might catch Rubeck back in and half out of the summer.
I never thought of that. Now putting Bojo off, we gotta find out where the castle is. That thing's Rubeck with a plate, see? Right through the warehouse wall.
All right, there's the first one, Bojo.
Hurry up. I want this truck loaded before the day crew shows up.
You picked the easy job, all right. Sitting up there in the cab.
Somebody's got to keep watch. Now hurry up.
Rubeck makes trip after trip from warehouse to truck while Bojo watches from the cab. But when the van is full, Buzz and Happy climb aboard. Invisible men in an invisible truck.
Everything's all right, Bojo. Let's get going.
All right. Well, it looks like it is a profitable night's work, Rubeck. Yes, sir. A profitable night's work.
In the dark interior of the van, Buzz and Happy are aware only of motion. It swerves from side to side as the big truck rumbles to an unknown destination. In several moments, it comes to a stop.
I wonder where we are. I have to stay in the cab and stay right by the van. I can hardly wait to see the look on Bojo's face. Let's work our way up to the door here. Don't make any noise. Okay, sir. I wonder if the truck is still invisible. I don't think so. Step low.
Let the truck go for a minute, Rubeck. Don't you want it unloaded? It will be all right here in the garage. Come on. All right.
Garage, you say? We're in the garage. We'll be waiting for a while. I'll give us a chance to get out of the van and be ready for it. Let's go. Easy, I'm making it out. It's all clear, sir. Okay, jump on. Got a place to hide where they can watch the truck. And how about... Commander!
Don't reach for your weapon.
Bojo.
Keep your blaster on them, Rubeck. The trick backfired for you. Now you're in my trap.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, here comes Tony Sides. I'll be. He's growing a mustache.
Who? Me, Captain Truesdale? What do you mean?
Why, you sure have.
Ah, gee whiz. That's no mustache. That's a Nestle's cocoa. You see, I had a cup just a few minutes ago. Well, I guess I was in such a hurry to drink it, I got some on my upper lip. I'll lick it off. Gee, that's good.
See, that's what everybody says, Tony. Nestle's Eveready makes the best cocoa in the universe. It's so rich, so chocolatey, and so smooth.
Since we got the Space Patrol habit at our house, all my brothers and sisters drink Nestle's cocoa for breakfast. We love the way it tastes. And boy, we sure love the pep it gives us. Starting the day with a hot drink is real smart. Especially when that drink is Nestle's cocoa.
You said it. And Nestle's Eveready is so easy to fix it practically makes itself. You just put 1, 2, 3 spoonfuls in your cup and add hot water, and that's all there is to it. Milk and sugar are already in Nestle's, so you don't have to add a thing.
Say, as long as Nestle's cocoa is so good and so easy to fix, well, I mean...
You mean we ought to fix us some real fast and maybe both get mustaches?
You bet.
Gang, how about you? If you haven't tried the Space Patrol way to start the day, don't wait anymore. Chow up for delicious Nestle's cocoa. Ask your mom to get Nestle's in the bright red can. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, the City of Hidden Doom. By means of an electromagnetic field that renders matter invisible, Ralph Boger and his accomplice Rubeck were able to steal electromagnetic equipment from a warehouse at the Jupiter City spaceport. Hoping to capture the criminals, Buzz and Happy hid in the trunk.
When the vehicle halted, the space patrollers thought Boger and Rubeck had temporarily left the scene. Upon leaping from the truck, however, Buzz and Happy were surprised by the criminals who rushed them with blast guns.
That's it, Corey. Hold your hands high. You too, Cadet. Take their weapons, Rubeck.
All right. Well, how about those belts they're wearing?
Remove them. They won't be needing them anymore.
What are you going to do when the Space Patrol places this van here to the ground, Boger?
The van cannot be traced, Corey. It was driven here with the invisibility field on.
When did you find out we were in the truck?
When I was loading it back at the warehouse, I saw you duck behind a box, Cadet, so I pretended to come back and check the warehouse once more.
Get into that room, Commander. Go on.
You heard of me. Both of you, get moving.
I will lock you in here while I tend to a small errand. And you'll find out for yourself that it is impossible to escape. You can shout and pound all you want. No one will hear you.
In case someone calls while you're out, what'll we tell them?
Well, you can just tell them that we are helping ourselves to the vault at the Jupiter City Bank. But don't worry, no one will be here asking for us.
The Jupiter City Bank? Well, that's one of the best guarded banks in the United Planets.
Yes, I know. But we can walk right through Endurium walls, calmly help ourselves, and walk out.
We won't even trip on a wall.
You'll see us soon, Corey, for the last time. Shut the door, Rubeck.
Well, when I looked at this place, Boger's invisibility gadget is the only thing that could get us out. It's a heavy door and there's no window. How can we know how to use the battery now? After they've been cleaned out, Boger must have kept the room ready for a use like this. Look carefully and every time I have to come forward with anything that could mean a way out of here. We're out of luck, sir. Anyway, we tried. There's one place we haven't looked at. Unless there's a trap door in the floor, I don't know where it'd be. There's a beam running across the ceiling. If I boost it up, you can reach it. Well, sure, but I don't see what... You haven't much time. Just sit on my shoulder. Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay, Commander. All right, Hap. Get along the top of the beam. I'll walk from one side of the room to the other. I don't think we'll find anything. There's barely enough room for my fingers between the beam and the ceiling. Cover every inch very carefully. Find anything? Dust. And some spider webs. I'll move farther down. Hold it, Commander. Here's something. It's a smooth strip of metal. Yeah, I guess it... Whoa! Endurium bar. Jump down, Hap. This may do it. It's not very big, sir. We couldn't hammer the door down with that. Yeah, but it may be thin enough to slip through the crack at the hinge side of the door. If Endurium doesn't bend, we may have an effective probe on. So let's try it. Sit back. We've only had another 2 minutes. No chance. This bar may come in here. You open the door. Stand by. Yes, sir.
Come on out. I said come on out. You've got something behind your back, Corey. And you will notice I have a blaster in my hand. Now drop whatever it is you are hiding and don't come any closer. Now, if you don't drop that tool or whatever it is, I'll fire.
All right.
I see I returned just in time. By the way, Commander, our visit to the bank was quite profitable. I am now a millionaire.
Boger, we've been tricked. What do you mean? It's crates we took from the warehouse. There's nothing in them but junk. What? Boxes. It's nothing but scrap metal and some old useless electronics equipment.
Rubeck, you fool. You loaded the wrong crate.
No, I didn't. The numbers checked the list you gave me.
Got it. You had something to do with this.
You didn't think I was going to give you new equipment, did you?
Oh, that's how you happened to be in the warehouse, huh? You planted that information on one of my agents.
Right. I found out who he was from one of your men we've captured.
Why, you...
Watch it, Boger. You'll blow a gasket.
And I show you that nobody makes a fool of Ralph Boger. Your life isn't enough to pay for this swindle, Corey. The entire city's going to pay the penalty.
What are you talking about?
The United Planets are going to learn to respect me. And to teach them that lesson, I'm going to destroy Jupiter City.
Wait a minute, Boger.
Shut up, Rubeck. Those explosives in the subcellar of this building. We are going to get them.
There isn't enough there to destroy a city this size, and anyway...
One bomb will do the job. If it's exploded in the right place. In the atmosphere plant.
Boger, you can't be serious. You know what'll happen if that plant's blown up?
Of course. The atmosphere shell will be shattered. The heavy poisonous gases of Jupiter will pour into the city.
This mass murder of innocent people. What good is it going to do you?
It will teach the entire universe the folly of defying Ralph Bolger.
Listen, what about us? When the city down around our own heads isn't
You
going
idiot! You don't think I intend to stay here, do you? By the time the bomb explodes, we'll be thousands of miles away from Jupiter.
Rubeck, listen. Don't let this maniac force you to...
Shut up! I know what I'm doing. After you unload that junk out of the van, you are going to help Rubeck bring the bomb out from the cellar.
Moments later, an invisible truck bearing its deadly cargo rolls through the streets of the unsuspecting city toward the atmosphere plant. Leaving Rubeck at the truck to direct the protecting beam of invisibility, Bolger forces Buzz and Happy to carry the bomb to a vital part of the building.
Just keep going, gentlemen. A little faster, please.
How can we go faster? We can't even see. Why didn't you let us wear those electronic spectacles?
You might be distracted. Just a few steps more. There. Set the bomb down. Now, stand back. I'm going to set the timing device. And just remember, I'm still covering you with this blaster, so don't attempt anything daring.
How much time are you giving?
Just a half an hour. The bomb will explode at 1,600 hours. You may be interested to know that it is resting in a hollow space between two thick concrete walls.
Well, no one could possibly find it.
Exactly. And also, where it will do the most damage. Now, let us return to the truck. I'm rather anxious to get to the spaceport and blast off. I trust you understand.
Driven by Bolger, the invisible truck races to the spaceport, with Buzz and Happy in the rear under the watchful eyes of Rubeck. As the truck goes to a stop, Bolger calls back to his miniature space phone.
Everything okay back there, Rubeck?
Yes.
You wait here in the truck until I get the spaceship ready for blast off. I've loosened the bracket on the invisibility field transmitter so you can carry it with you to the ship.
All right.
And remember, keep that invisibility field on until you're aboard the ship.
Yes, I know. Get going, Bolger.
Okay. I take care of the money. When you leave the truck, lock Corey and the cadet inside. I'll see you later. Bolger out.
Rubeck, listen. You don't want the destruction of an entire city on your conscience. Let's go back and deactivate that bomb.
Are you crazy? Even if I wanted to, I couldn't find it. I was in the truck, remember? And you two weren't wearing electronic spectacles, so you couldn't find it either.
At least we could try.
Yes. What have you got to lose? It's different. Getting aboard that ship with Bolger. And my share of $1 million credits.
Rubeck, listen. Bolger will double-cross you sooner or later. He's done it to the other
Keep
guys.
quiet, cadet. I'm getting ready to run for the ship when I hear the word from Bolger. I'm getting out of the truck. I want you to hand me that field transmitter. Remember, I've got this blaster ready. All right, Corey. Bring me the transmitter.
Okay. It's rather heavy.
Corey, you clumsy fool. You shut off the field.
Well, so I have.
Rubeck, what's the matter with you? Why did you cut off that field?
Are you ready to blast off?
You idiot! What do you think the guards will do when they see the big truck suddenly appear out of nothing in the middle of the blast-off strip?
Corey did it. Till I come aboard now.
You bungler! I can see two patrol cars heading this way now. To take the truck off the strip, I'm blasting off.
No, Bolger. Wait for me.
The bomb! You can't keep me here. Wait, Bolger, wait!
Done.
We're in the same fix we are now, Rubeck. Might as well help us find that bomb.
I've still got a chance. A small private cruiser over there. I'm blasting off when I catch up with Bolger. That satchel there in the truck. The joke's on Bolger. He took the wrong satchel. The bank money's in this one. Come on, or I'll blast you.
Give it to him, Doc.
Yes. Now, heading to that cruiser. If anybody tries to stop me, I'll blast them to bits. So long, Commander.
Commander, can't we do anything to stop him? I think so. I've got me a pair of those electronic spectacles. Somewhere here in the truck. Yes, sir. I'll get this field transmitter to work again. It's on. I don't know if I can focus it on you, Doc. Here are the goggles, sir. Thanks. Find a pair for yourself. The trucker's going to be invisible in a few seconds.
Then the patrol cars won't see it.
That's not important now, Hap. Let me have that miniature spacer phone.
Yes, sir. Commander, Rubeck's almost at the cruiser. Rubeck, this is Commander Corey. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thanks for making me invisible.
How do you think they're going to operate a spaceship when your hands will pass completely through the controls?
What?
Remember, the ship will still be solid matter, and you're practically a phantom, a ghost.
Corey, cut off that field.
I'm getting the orders now. You're going to help us locate that bomb. It's your only chance to save your own skin.
All right. You win, Corey.
Now throw that blaster down and come back to the truck.
Smoking rockets, Commander. It's 10 minutes to 1600. We've got 10 minutes to save Jupiter City.
With a thoroughly frightened Rubeck between them in the front seat of the truck, Buzz and Happy rushed the huge, invisible vehicle through the streets to the atmosphere plant. Then they watched carefully as Rubeck, trembling with fear, adjusts the transmitter, projecting a beam of invisibility through a solid structure of the plant.
There. That's the way I had it adjusted before.
All right. Come on, Rubeck. Let's get that bomb.
I'll wait here at the transmitter. Something may go wrong.
It's sure to go wrong if you're here.
Yeah, after we shut the bomb off, you'd cut the field transmitter and leave us stuck somewhere inside a concrete wall.
No, I promise. You're taking no chances. Come on.
No. Well, I won't go in there without someone to watch things. I don't want to be buried alive.
We haven't got time to argue, Rubeck.
Let go of me!
This'll keep you quiet.
I hope he stays out cold until we get back.
If you don't hurry, we won't get there. 2 minutes, that bomb will go off. Come on, Hap.
I sure hope we're going in the right direction.
In the distance we walked to Bossier, the bomb must be in the east part of the building.
Well, that isn't much help. It would take hours to search between all the walls, and we've only got a minute.
Now, wait, Hap. Remember, Bossier made us turn to the left. Keep us from going down a ramp to the third level.
Yeah, that's right. That means we're on the second level.
It's this way. I know where it is now. Hurry.
I hope you're right, Commander. Oh, wow, look at the time. In a few seconds, that bomb is going to blow Jupiter City clear off the planet.
There's a ramp, Happy. Now turn left, right through this wall.
Yes, sir.
Now we're in the space between two walls.
Commander, listen. Hear that?
A timing device. We're close to it. Here, this way.
There it is.
I hope we can figure out how to deactivate this thing.
10 seconds, Commander. It's getting ready to go off.
If this isn't the right control, we're finished.
Commander, this is something I never thought I'd be able to see.
What is it, Peter?
It's now 10 seconds after 1600.
Time to get to work. Load this bomb, back up to the truck, put it over to the munitions office. Come on.
Hey, Rubeck, wake up. Snap out of it. You've slept long enough.
The bomb.
What about the bomb? Oh, it's all taken care of. Safe and deactivated in the back of the truck.
Sit up, Rubeck. I'm driving you to headquarters.
If ever I get my hands on him. Oh, you'll be seeing him very soon, Rubeck, at the Criminal Rehab Center.
Right, Hap. Now that we've got an invisibility field transmitter, we can fight Bossier with his own weapons.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
Space Patrollers, can you pass this quiz? What does every active, alert fellow and girl need every single morning?
A good hot breakfast drink.
Right. Now, what's the best hot breakfast drink there is?
Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa.
100% correct. It's an easy quiz because we all know that for a real warm-up pep, you want to start your day the Nestle way. Just put 1, 2, 3 spoonfuls of Nestle's in your cup, add hot water, and it's all made, all ready to drink. And man, what sensational flavor. Rich, chocolatey, delicious. There's no other drink like it. Why don't you tell Mom about Nestle's? Remember, the rich whole milk and sugar are already in it, so you don't add a thing but water. And here's the final question. What do you look for at your grocery store?
Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa. Bright red can.
Nestle's Ever-Ready. You said it.
And now a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are on Neptune following the criminal Ralph Bossier into a deserted factory building. An invisibility transmitter concealed outside enables them to trail Bossier through the solid walls of a huge metal tank.
Wow, it sure dark in here.
Now's our chance to close in on Bolger. Let me step through the other side of the tank. Rush him.
Yes, sir. Commander, the wall is solid. We can't get through.
Something happened to our invisibility field transmitter. We're sealed inside the tank.
Be with us again next week for the thrilling Space Patrol story, Escape from Neptune. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Ken Mayer, Bela Kovach, and Tony Side. Dick Tufeld speaking. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Eveready, the instant cocoa, Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood.
This is ABC Radio Network.